The beauty about gluten is that you don't get constipation. So there's no enemas.
Some people actually do. There's a few that I think. So didn't Samantha talk about getting constipated? Let's talk about her bowels for a while. She's not here.
So when I went to this doctor, his name is Dr. Gitahi. And he did a bunch of tests, urine test, blood test. And my highlight was the part where he had to cut off some of my hair from my scalp.
Okay.
Different parts of my head, and run tests. And they came back very positive for, gluten intolerance, like stop playing with that thing.
Okay, so you were 100% gluten-free.
100%.
But the baby was reacting to something else.
Yes, that I had no clue because I didn't have any other reactions. I was feeling amazing.
So you felt fine?
Yeah.
So you're okay with dairy?
Yeah, I was okay with dairy.
And then you discovered that your baby
wasn't okay with dairy.
I think that's a fair introduction of Samantha Mugeni.
And Darren Collins.
And together we are the
Gluten Warriors.
We worry about gluten.
All the time.
All the time.
Every time. All the damn time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to another episode of the Gluten Worrier podcast. We're not warriors. We're not fighting gluten. We're worried about gluten. We're the Gluten Worriers. But my co-host, I'm so worried, is not here. Samantha Mugeni is not here. And instead, I have a guest that I'm going to interview named Winnie Minothi. Winnie Minothi is here instead, and she is going to teach us some things that are, things I know nothing about. And oddly enough, neither does Sam. Sam Mugeni also does not know about this because neither of us are parents and neither of us are mothers. But Winnie Minothi is a mother, and she's a gluten-free and dairy-free mother. And so that makes things difficult for those of us who are new at sort of traversing this difficult path through the forest of contamination and gluten and dairy and foods that we're not quite sure if we can eat or not and why we're reacting the way we are. Well, there's someone here who is a guest who's navigated that field and has also done it not just as a passenger herself through time, but someone who's carrying another person. You're not only are you a mother, but you are an expecting mother as well. Mm-hmm. That's like double duty. And you're doing all of this while trying to be gluten-free and dairy-free. That's like four things. Gluten-free, dairy-free, mother, and expecting mother. That's a lot. That's a lot to carry. It's a big load. I'm totally curious. Would you like to introduce yourself at all? Anything you'd like to tell the audience about yourself that's beyond? Because I think you're more than just dairy-free, gluten-free mother and expecting mother.
Yeah, I give myself very little credit for it. I didn't realize what a mouthful that is.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
You're carrying a big burden. So you have been gluten-free for how long?
10 years next year.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, high five, virtually. I'm on 15 or 16 years at this point. So you're an early adopter.
Yes.
You were gluten-free when everyone was like, what's that?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And so you had all sorts of names thrown at you.
Right.
Yeah.
And what was the process of discovery for you like? How did you figure it out?
Let's say a lifetime of being sick. I
Right.
had a headache every day of my life.
Headaches. So were you diagnosed by a doctor or did you figure it out on your own?
No, I was diagnosed by a doctor.
Really?
Because it got so bad,
Mm-hmm.
I developed what seemed like lupus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my kidneys were just like, be out.
Yeah.
Enough of this. The migraines were unbelievable and they were just getting more and more intense.
So what age were you when you actually were diagnosed? I'm sorry to have to reveal all this, but I think this is kind of important.
You have to do the math. That was 2015.
2015.
That was, 9 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, early 2015. It was really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's because I had gone through all sorts of tests.
Right.
And they all came back negative.
Right.
And
right.
one doctor was very careless to diagnose me with depression.
Yeah. Give
And
you a
so-
catch-all instead of finding
Yeah.
the thing.
And what was left of my insurance cover, they gave me antidepressants for it. Yeah.
That's so tough because I think the longer it takes for us to diagnose it, the worse it kind of gets.
And you get more permanent symptoms. Like
Absolutely.
now,
Yeah.
hormonal imbalance has become something that I now struggle with.
Okay.
Yes, it's almost like stuck with me. I can't seem to shake it off. It's been
Right.
10 years. My hormones don't seem to sit well, but it's because from a very early age, I remember my mom struggling with me as complaining of headaches and headaches and headaches.
Right.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to be the kid that they'd say, Darren, you want a cookie? no, thank you. I didn't know why I was saying no.
Oh, wow.
You know, I think my body was just like,
Yes, and that's my son now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But he's been exposed to so much that doesn't have any gluten. So when you offer him anything with gluten, he'll be like, no thanks. He'll have a bite because
then he
maybe
feels
he's
it.
not intolerant, but I know better.
It tends to be genetic.
Yes.
Like there's like almost like half of our family tends to have
Yes.
it, and the other half doesn't, and we kind of figured it out. But our topic today is not necessarily the healthcare industry, but I would like to find out, because I think the listeners might care, what kind of doctor was it that figured it out?
A nutritionist.
A nutritionist.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't your general practitioner. It wasn't a specialist.
No.
It was a nutritionist.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a referral by a friend who was so concerned that I was given antidepressants. They were like, you're so bubbly, you're all over the place. And even on the days that you're low, it's normal. What do you mean depression?
Yeah.
You're still able to function. So they're like, I think we need to look at this.
And it's not that you didn't feel depressed.
No.
Like
I
you
was
probably did
depressed.
feel pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that was
Yeah,
a symptom, not
exactly.
not the diagnosis.
Yeah. So when I went to this doctor, his name is Dr. Gitahi. And he did a bunch of tests, urine test, blood test. And my highlight was the part where he had to cut off some of my hair from my scalp.
Okay.
Different parts of my head, and ran tests. And they came back very positive for, gluten intolerance. Like, stop playing with that thing.
Really?
Yes, it's going to burn you.
Yeah. It was one of those tests, because I feared it. Like 15 years ago, they're like, well, the test is you go back on gluten, we do your blood test, then you go off it. And I was like, I ain't going back on it. I'm pretty sure this is what it is. And if the test requires me going back on gluten, count me out.
He didn't let me do that.
He didn't make
He's
you do
like, get off it now.
Okay.
Let's do the test.
Okay.
Let's send, because already your hair has so much evidence.
Okay.
It keeps so much proof of what you eat and all that. And so they needed to get it from the root so they can tell what I've been eating recently compared to what I'd been eating before. So the whole strand. And so that's how he figured it out.
So when he figured it out, I'm guessing you immediately went, okay, stop.
Yes, he was like, stop.
Okay.
He was convinced just by looking at me and looking at my symptoms. He's like, you have to stop today, not tomorrow, today.
Okay.
You just have to stop.
How long did it take before you started feeling better?
It took me a while because gluten is addictive.
Oh.
So you're going through withdrawal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but did you indeed stop cold turkey?
Yeah.
You did.
I did.
And
it was
then-
hard. I felt worse. Oh my God. It was so bad. I actually had to live with my sister for a few days because it was impossible.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember sleeping in the middle of her living room.
Wow.
It was so bad. It was so bad. I was out for almost 2 weeks. Then after that, you start going through the withdrawal.
Okay.
And then after that, you realize how malnutritioned you are, because when you're intolerant to gluten, you experience what is called a leaking gut. Like
Yes.
your gut is like,
Yeah.
So everything just goes directly to the bloodstream. Your
Yep.
villi is like, oh, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, you're not
So-
absorbing the good other nutrients that
Yep.
are good for you,
So
even though you're taking them.
completely
Yeah.
depleted. Yes.
Absolutely.
So now you have to start building that up. So you have no good bacteria in your gut. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it was a journey and a half.
And so, but then the feeling better part, how long did that take?
Honestly speaking, maybe about a year.
About a year.
Yes, that's when I was like, oh my gosh, this feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Vitality.
inflammation just went down. Suddenly, your weight is under control. Like, you can do something about it.
Yes.
Because I was running and, all sorts of diets. Oh my gosh, they wouldn't work because I was just taking foods that are inflaming my body.
Right.
And then your malnutrition. So what are you expecting to achieve?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite something. So I ditched the running. Woohoo!
I don't have to do cardio all the time because now I'm not killing myself with things that hurt. Yeah.
And you look better, you feel better, you sleep better.
Oh gosh, the sleep is so much better.
Oh my gosh, yes. And then your mood is more reliable. So you're not going to be cranky the next day, and you're wondering, why are you so cranky? And your
Right.
stomach is
Right.
quiet. It was really embarrassing.
Oh gosh.
Constantly rumbling, and you're like, oh man, I'm not hungry, and
Yeah.
trying to explain to people what's going on. It was a nightmare, but I'm grateful.
Man, I almost forgot about the sleep problems. I don't think we ever even talked about it on the podcast. I remember I used to have, like, I would just start to fall asleep, my legs would kick,
Yep.
and I would be open, and I would be on the road. I was working at summer camps for kids, and I was like the leader, and I was eating the camp food and I didn't know. And then I kind of learned about it. So I stopped, but I didn't know all the cross-contamination things. And I remember just those nights where I just could not sleep at all. And boy, I sleep great now.
I know.
But it's a long journey. But do you feel like you feel better almost every year that goes by?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice.
Because your body is now self-repairing. And you've been exposing your body to hardcore damage consistently every day for so many years. By the time you call an SOS. I mean, you set out an SOS. So first it goes through the shock, then acceptance, then it starts.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I did a podcast earlier where I talked about there's nothing really much encouraging you can say because it really is a hard journey. It really is like hard. But I found that once I totally went gluten-free, like 100%, no cheating, no cross-contamination, checked every label, I find that other diets tend to be now easier. Yeah. Like if someone's like, maybe you should do some time with no sugar, or you should do some time without having any meat, or you should whatever. It's like, all that's easy compared to eliminating gluten.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because gluten is addictive. And gluten, your whole body runs away from it. So by the time your gut is running away from it, your kidneys are also processing that. So they're also very inflamed and very upset. Your lymph nodes, it's a whole hot mess.
Yeah, my brother and I figured it out at the same time. Well, he figured it out and told me, but he's 16 years older than me. So he was living with it for 16 years longer. He got to the point where he had a seizure. The migraines eventually became seizures. So what? Like no one has seizures in our family, but that guy did. And that's what finally drove him to go I just absolutely must nail this. So, but at the same time, I feel like I have a bit of advantage because I think I feel better than he does now.
Yeah.
Because he had so much damage for so much longer that even though we've both been off it for 15 years or so, I'm still in a better spot.
That's definitely.
Do you find yourself being a proselytizer to other people? We're not medical practitioners, and this is not a medical podcast. So everyone who's depressed, you may not have gluten intolerance, but at least let that be part of your options of checking out.
It's very true because it really does affect your mood, and you can easily be diagnosed with depression and bipolar because when you're having a good day, you're really excited and trying to stuff in all that you can.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, you try to stuff in everything that you can in that one day because you're feeling so good, and you don't know when the next wave of madness is gonna hit you. And when you're sick, it's so bad. You don't want the curtains open. You don't want to smell food. You don't want to hear loud noises. It's just a nightmare.
I never thought of that. That's a good point too. It's almost like a bipolar. Who is this person?
I know.
I remember a very distinct memory. I was going down an escalator. I was in Singapore. I was going down an escalator and I was like, why do I feel so good? I just feel so good. And what's the cause of this? And you know what it was? I think in that particular country, there's just way less of it. We're having completely different foods. And I remember I used to work overseas in Cambodia, and whenever I'd come back, I would get so sick. And everyone thought, oh, dude, you picked something up in Cambodia. You got I thought I had worms. Intestinal worms. I remember getting a colonoscopy because I must have some sort of parasite. Because everyone's like, "Oh yeah, you probably picked up parasites. That's why you're so sick. I mean, you've been in the middle of nowhere in Southeast Asia." Turns out I was getting healthy over there because I wasn't having any gluten. And then I'd come back to the USA and have sandwiches for breaded chicken with white gravy. All this delicious stuff. Yeah. And just
no thanks.
Did I have an unnecessary colonoscopy because of gluten?
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did.
It's so terrible.
Yes, you did. The beauty about gluten is that you don't get constipation, so there's no enemas.
Some people actually do. There's a few that I think. So, didn't Samantha talk about getting constipated? Let's talk about her bowels for a while. She's not here because it can go. It
can go either way.
And I think isn't lupus one of those things where that's one of those sort of catch-all? There's a lot of symptoms, so we feel like it could be that.
Yes.
And so they'll put you in this wide range category. And it is technically sort of a wide ranging thing because not everyone's symptoms are the same. I mean, when your body's not accepting nutrients, you could have all kinds of different ailments.
Exactly.
I never had migraines, never. But I had the kind of anxiety where I would touch the walls. Why am I feeling like I was just, I'm a crazy person. I was getting weird, I was getting real, and I was scaring myself and I'm not telling anybody, Yeah. So
that's so scary, yeah.
So you figured it out and now you're doing it. But then but then what happens? So you have the wonders of childbirth. You have a child, and so what's going on there with
What was depressing was when my child was born, he was perfect.
Of course.
Gosh, he was so cute. Full head of hair, full cheeks.
All right.
Yeah, and he was a normal weight. Okay, he was a big baby. He was 3.2. He was very healthy. But you see, when you're carrying him, you have the advantage of the placenta. So he only gets nutrients. He doesn't get the actual food. So I was kind of protecting him. So all the dairy I was having wasn't getting to him. Now, when he was born, I had hot chocolate.
Okay.
And I had toast with butter. And I'm breastfeeding him. By the third day, hey, it was hell on earth. He was wailing. He was in tears. He was in pain. It was a nightmare. I couldn't believe my eyes.
Okay.
Called the pediatrician, told the pediatrician what's happening. He's like, oh, maybe it's colic. Where? It wasn't colic because he would cry all day in any time of day. Then he got to a point where he would stop feeding. Like he wants to be close to you and smell the milk, but he wouldn't want to get involved with it.
Okay.
And it went on for a cool 17 weeks before I was like,
Oh, no.
Nope, something is wrong, something is very wrong.
Okay, can I stop you for a moment and clarify something? Because you just said you had toast with butter. Why would you be having toast if you're gluten-free?
There's gluten-free bread.
Okay, so you're having gluten-free bread.
Figure that.
Okay, and so you knew that. Okay, so you were 100% gluten-free.
100%.
But the baby was reacting to something else.
Yes, that I had no clue because I didn't have any other reactions. I was feeling amazing.
So you felt fine.
Yeah.
So you're okay with dairy.
Yeah, I was okay with dairy.
And then you discover that your baby
wasn't okay with dairy.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I was in shock. I was so traumatized.
Yeah.
I felt so bad because I walked in, feeling,
well, you're a
best
dairy
mom.
factory at that point.
Yeah.
So mother's milk definitely qualifies as dairy, right? I'm asking.
What you're talking about is the lactose, I think.
So the dairy that you are ingesting.
Yes, was what was affecting my son.
Okay.
Yes, because I'm having tea with milk because you need to take lots of fluids.
Sure, yeah,
to
absolutely.
Make
it taste good.
Milk,
yeah.
exactly. And then, boom, your child doesn't want any of your milk. And you're like, what is the healthiest milk ever? It has got no gluten in it, no alcohol. Come on.
Yeah, right.
But he didn't respond to it very well.
No, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, and I felt already you're going through the blues and you're already going through an adjustment of now your hormones are changing from pregnancy hormones to now you're breastfeeding and it was quite a roller coaster. So you're feeling really bad and like you're not a good mom and all that. But I was very, very, very lucky to find a pediatrician who understood this and told me, this is dairy.
Okay.
So pull the plug on dairy and oh my gosh, he started thriving again. Yeah. And just like that, gluten-dairy-free treats were born.
Right. Okay. So what other? So you were navigating the world as a gluten-free person, and then suddenly, even though you're 100% gluten-free, you find out that your baby boy is dairy intolerant. Now, are you dairy intolerant?
Yes. Now I'm dairy intolerant because of staying away from dairy for so long. It happens. Even you should try it. You'd be so surprised.
Yeah. I found that when I went I became a little lactose intolerant, but then I had all the signs and symptoms. But when I quit gluten after a long time, I was able to have dairy again. It's like something healed. It's like, all right, you can process that again. So I'm actually okay with it.
That's so cool.
But
I'm not
but
yet
I
okay
wasn't
with it.
right. Yeah, who knows? I mean, we're all different, right? And that's a huge.
Maybe it's been a short time. It's been what, 2.5 years?
2.5 years of being dairy free.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that world. This is not the dairy free podcast, but we'll let you jump in and say all you can about it. So you then discovered that not only your boy but yourself are now dairy free.
Yeah.
And so.
And as long as I was breastfeeding him, I had to not take any dairy.
Okay.
Yes. So even that trying of dairy, I've just done it in the last couple of months and it's not working. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Are you okay with nuts?
I love nuts.
Okay. Yeah, at some point it's like gluten-free living, dairy-free living, taste-free living. We no longer taste. We have water. Yeah.
Up next, restaurant review with Sam and Darren.
Have you gone anywhere since we last talked?
Yes, so many places. I will start with, remember, I was going to Nanyuki after I left you
Yes.
last week.
Yes.
So that trip was great. We stayed at a place called Aberdare Cottages, Aberdare Royal and Prestige Cottages. Yes. It's like just as you're getting into Nanyuki on the way.
Cool.
I really liked, other than, the ambience and everything, I love the rooms and all of that, but I'm usually very concerned about the food because we were doing half board. So breakfast was on them, dinner was on them as well. And sometimes with hotels, when they give you the buffet, there tends to be like all of the gluten, right?
Yeah.
Soy sauce.
Hey, we found all the gluten out back. You
the
guys want that?
chicken has soy sauce, the
Yeah.
beef has soy sauce,
Yeah.
and you have your chapatis and your bhajias made with wheat flour. So I was feeling somewhat about it until I got to like the restaurant area.
Yeah.
And they had variety. There was like so much variety, so many options of things that I could eat and choose from. So I was able to eat like my greens without worrying about soy sauce. And this is the best part. I asked one of the wait staff about like, okay, so I'm gluten intolerant, which means I can't take things that are made with flour and stuff like that. So from here, could you find out from the chef what I can eat? And they were super helpful. They got the information, they came back and they were like, the mincemeat is fine. This, don't eat that chicken. This chicken is fine. The rice is okay. Obviously, avoid the chapati and stuff like that. And
That's
I
so
really
nice.
appreciated it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's really
that was really cool. That was really cool. That's where we were staying. And then we also went to Trout Tree.
Okay.
I really like Trout Tree. So it's a tree house restaurant that's on a fish farm.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously they're farming trout fish. So you go there to eat trout. This is my first time eating trout. I was not ready for how tiny those bones are. Yeah, super, super tiny. But also what I appreciated about this place was when I told the wait staff I'm gluten intolerant and I would like, what are my options? And she was like, I would recommend you have the grilled trout, but we'll make yours gluten-free. So like she already had the understanding. I don't know what it is they put on the grilled trout normally.
Right. They're probably just dusting it with flour to make it less sticky or something.
Something of the sort, yeah. So and because I took, my friend and I had the grilled trout, but theirs was the usual and mine was gluten-free. And I was not sick after that.
How was it?
It was so good.
Oh, yeah.
We should go back. We should go.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I think you would enjoy it.
I like tree houses. I like trees.
Do you like fish?
I like everything.
Have you had trout before?
Yep.
Okay. Did you enjoy it?
Probably.
Okay. Then you would enjoy this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. We
That's
should
really
go
nice.
back. Yeah. Also in Nanyuki. Super awesome place. Views for days. Carry a jacket or a sweater because it gets really cold since you're in the trees.
Yeah. We did. I did an arts festival up there a long time ago.
Really?
But we'd like to take the comedians back there again. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be.
Speaking of the comedians, so I eat at Levels Hotel a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Where
Which-
is that?
So it's on Kingara Road, just up from Junction, top of the hill. And
okay.
it's a Gecko is like there's Gecko and then Nivus and then Levels.
Oh,
it's
okay.
all in that corner right there.
All right.
And so
I think I
Levels
see it.
Hotel, the chef there also, he totally understands the gluten thing. Like I was like kind of freaked out. So I went and said, hey man, can we talk about gluten? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And he was so excited to make sure that I enjoyed.
Okay.
And so he adjusts the chicken wings for me. He adjusts the steak because a lot of the guy who owns the place sort of likes steaks to be done sort of a European style, which often has sauces on it. And I'm like, oh, American, we don't put sauce on any steaks. I want it rare, medium rare, and I don't want anything on it except for like salt and pepper.
Okay.
And the dude is just like absolutely all about like making sure it's right.
Nice.
And it's another one of those things where I don't want to talk about it. I was like, can I talk to the chef? And they're like, yeah, he'd love to talk to you. That'd be great. And so he comes out afterwards. Hey, did you like it? How do you feel?
Nice.
So that's such a nice thing.
Yeah.
And so, but I did the same thing. I was like, what on the menu can I have and what can't I have? And he's like, this, but I can change this and this I can adjust. And it's not going to be the same if it's like this, but would you like it? And yeah.
Cool.
So, I mean, it's not like a fine dining place or anything. They have a huge menu.
Yeah.
But the chef cares. So
That speaks
Levels Hotel's a place you
volumes.
can, yeah,
Yeah.
it really does.
Huh.
He seems to be there most nights. I mean, we're there like at least 3 nights a week, and he's always there.
And he's
so.
always there. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Okay.
But
Let me
I
see.
definitely would go for the steak, the T-bone steak. Yeah,
T-bone steak, but no sauce.
yeah.
Okay.
And then, but make just tell him you want it gluten free, or say I want it the way Darren wants it.
He
Because
would know, right?
He'd remember. I'm there.
Okay.
I'm
You're there all the time.
Yeah.
Biggest clientele.
I might be the person who spent the most money on food in that
You're
restaurant.
keeping them afloat.
I'm there all the time, and I'm always hungry.
Okay.
The Gluten Warriors podcast is produced by Arro Digital. The show is executive produced by Eva and Sam Mugeni. Our editing is done by Voicebox Studios. Join us next Wednesday for another episode of the Gluten Warriors. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, AfriPods, and wherever you get your podcasts from.